Welcome to the She Remembers podcast. Today is episode one, season one. Goodness Lord, this is just so exciting for me, and I have a very special guest and friend. I had to make this podcast, the first episode with my dear friend, Ankhara Rose, and I have a little bio here that I'm going to read before actually I have her say hi to you. So you know how wonderful she is. She's the creator and founder of the Success Codex, a revolutionary system that blends modern business astrology with a simple and accessible translation of the human design gates into a map of your genius in business, leadership, and life. And through her work with the Codex, as well as her background as a longtime educator, program facilitator, and business strategist, she helps soul-led change makers create more impact, income by leveraging their natural genius. And when she's not nerding out with her clients and students and friends, you can find her performing songs with her band, the Rosewood Sound, taking long walks in nature, and trying to get her cool teenagers to hang out with her. Okay, so friends, this is Ankhara Rose, my dear friend. Please say hello, Ankhara. I'm so happy to have you here.
Hello, hello. I'm so honored and excited to be here, to be talking with you today.
Ah, yes. So let me tell you why Ankara is here. I feel like that is the most important thing. So Ankara and I met during a program. So we have never met live, which is, I don't know, I
Crazy.
think that happens to so many of us nowadays. And we met in a program of Victoria Sandfleur, who's an amazing business coach. And I don't know, I feel like we connected. I kept looking at her, and then somehow we kind of lost touch. I mean, I kind of went offline, but we were chatting. It was one of the two people. Actually, no, you were one of the people that I was in contact with through Voxer for yeah, for like months after. But then I feel like I went out of the online world, and then Ankara kept showing up. This is my part of the story. She will tell her part of the story. And then she kept popping in, like, hi, friend. And I was going through all this transition from one country to another. And I just thought, what a kind, like, how kind this person was thinking of me. And it almost felt like a little angel like showing up. Hey, how are you? I just want to check in on you. And anyways, from there I just completely fell in love with this friend. And I have seen her grown into this incredible business mentor. And now she has a Success Codex. And I remember having conversations with her before, and she's gone through so much. For that, I feel like in this She Remembers podcast, I wanted to bring people who have remembered through the hard times and the good times, the things that are important and matter, the essence of things. And I've been fortunate to witness Ankara and how she has carried herself through a lot to just birth the Success Codex, if you knew. And she held herself with so much integrity and class, and really feeling what she needed to feel, but not getting scared, and believing in this baby that now is alive and keeps growing. And that's all. So I'm gonna let Ankara say something before I keep talking.
I love it. It's like a little trip down memory lane. Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
my memory of us connecting was it was always just very easy for us to connect. And it's funny, I'm a very I'm actually an introvert. Like I'm comfortable being around people. I like being around people, but when I kind of go into my creation mode, I'm very isolated and I'm in my own world. But I would just always get these intuitive, heart-led nudges to just reach out to you. Like during that time
Oh,
where, I would just hear it. It's like, I wonder what Mariana's doing. Just check in on Mariana. That was it. And it wasn't to get anything. It was
no.
really just like a little, felt like it was the universe sending you love notes through me. And
Hmm.
so that's what it was. And, your friendship is, oh, now I'm gonna cry. Your friendship is one of the, that was fast, one of the most important friendships in my life. I think it's so crazy that we've never met in person, but it's like it doesn't matter. Like
No.
it's just so through, across the country, through the interwebs and
Yeah.
heart to heart, heart connection. The location really doesn't matter. Like when people connect and we connect on a spiritual level and an intellectual level and as friends, as moms, as humans.
Hmm.
So it's been, this friendship has given me so much. It's
Mm.
been so grounding and wonderful to have you in my life. So I'm really happy to be here, and I love what you shared about She Remembers and how, what are we remembering? Well, we're all going through some sort of a journey
Hmm.
from who we are to who we want to be, right? That's
Hmm.
that's kind of the journey, right? If we're
Yeah.
intentional. If we're not intentional, we just kind of are who we are, and we're probably more like who we're not, like focusing on who we're not.
Hmm.
And so I think that this journey, which never stops unfolding, never stops evolving, when we take the time to think about how much we've grown and how much we've learned and who we've become, uh, at least what I've found is that it does feel more like a remembering
Hmm.
versus I'm learning something new about myself.
Hmm.
I think for those of us who are on a committed journey to be our full selves, to really actualize, to like live our dreams, to have a life that we really can thrive in. I think that, yeah, I just believe that our soul knows how to do this, and that's actually the like that's the true self coming through.
Yeah. It's I feel like when we remember something is more than is more about our essence, right? Like more what is underneath everything that is clouding the core of it. For today for me is like trust. Maybe it's always been trust and under everything is how much can you trust in what you can see, in what shows no evidence, especially because we're living in a world right now that is just difficult. Right now things are really difficult, and trusting it is not easy, right? Trusting in something bigger than you, or that there's a plan, or that there is you can lean on not only on something bigger than you, but on yourself,
Mm.
um on the own power that you have by looking at things differently. And I know that this sounds like cliche and we've talked about this so many times, but it is so true. I was sharing with Ankhara that I'm doing this meditations. It's so funny because I wanted to meditate for so long. And I'm like, I just can't for the life of me make myself meditate. Just until it just happens, right? Which
Hmm.
is like such a great example. Because
Hmm.
we forcing because we're not trusting, right? So then
Right.
eventually I'm like, okay, I know something is telling me, which again, something, my soul, my higher self, you name it, whatever you want to name it, it doesn't matter to me. Something is telling me, go back to this. And then I go, okay, but then my body hasn't caught up with that, or my mind has that.
Mm.
So eventually it goes, okay, and then I'm meditating, and then I'm receiving all these beautiful messages. And this message was about um, receiving and trusting. So, how much can I trust what I'm receiving? And immediately my head was like, well, I can receive a lot of bad things. Like,
Oh.
right? Like, whoa, I don't want to receive. Like, I better not receive everything. That is what my ego, as I'm in this meditation, right? No. Like, let's just put some walls.
Mm,
And
mm.
it was so interesting. I was like, ooh, like all these walls because you can receive like bad experiences, disappointment, betrayal. Maybe you are misunderstood. Maybe you can receive. So then I was like, okay, no, this is not it. I have to trust a little bit deeper. deeper, deeper. This is just noise. Can you trust in not listening to that? That is. Can you separate yourself from the noise? Um, and that in itself is it. Like that in itself, to just be able to separate yourself from what wants to make you doubt yourself or that
Yeah.
there's something good. And I was like, it's so easy for me to trust bad things and wrong things. Our brain is going to look for that, as we know.
Yeah.
What is an act of super faith, like super incredible trust, is to not listen to that. And how many things all of us, and I would love to hear what you have to say, Ankara, have flipped our lives and received different things and leaped our lives because we stopped hearing that,
Mm-hmm.
because we remembered that
Mm-hmm.
we're not supposed to hear that, and that there's something more subtle under everything that feels risky to the body, risky to the mind.
Yes.
But man, can you not relax on this? It's just like, what about if you can trust in things happening in a beautiful way and that everything is gonna kind of, bring the next puzzle piece here and here, and then you just have to not do anything, but just trust.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And there's so much to unpack there, but like the first thing that's coming up for me is I think that you really hit the nail on the head. It's like the part of us that goes right into the fear, that's our wiring, that's our nervous system, that's our conditioning, those are the beliefs. It's really just the body trying to keep us safe, like the
Mm-hmm.
physiological body and
Mm-hmm.
brain trying to keep us safe. And great, like thank you for trying to keep me safe. And it responds to everything like a lion, and there's no lion, right? But when we think there's a lion and we're convinced that there's a lion, we're not
Mm-hmm.
going to feel safe to
Mm-hmm.
have that thing that we want. And I think that, when I reflect on trust, and this has been a different context, but that's been my journey, especially for the past few months. It's all been about recognizing just how much
Mm-hmm.
I have been giving my authority away to people, to programs, to mentors,
Mm-hmm.
to my own beliefs that are outdated, my own stories, my own rules that
Mm-hmm.
don't serve me, and how I have so much opportunity to let those things go and to remember how to trust myself again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Remember how to trust myself again. And I do think that trust is a choice. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
think we have to make that choice first. We have to say, okay, I'm going to trust myself. And what happens is the mind comes in and says, yeah, but like you get things wrong all the time, right? Like, okay, you can trust yourself just fine, but you don't actually know what you're doing, right? And I think that if we're looking at it kind of in the mechanical 3D ego-based world, we're going to fixate on trust means I can do everything right. I can trust myself because I know I can do everything right. But that's not the level of trust that we're talking about.
No.
That's the level of trust that's existing in that fear state, in that nervous system, I'm trying to protect you state. The real trust is trusting that in the moment, no matter what happens, we're going to be okay. We're not going to abandon ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like that's a big one for me. I mean, that's what I've learned in the
Mm-hmm.
past year and a half through this journey of my own development and growth and lots of challenges. It's like, wow, shit hit the fan so bad, but I didn't abandon myself for one moment. So what did I do there? I supported and reinforced my relationship with myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm kind of going all over the place here, but like,
No, 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 you're not.
what is self-trust more than trusting it? I mean, it's your relationship with yourself. You in relationship with yourself, like a partner.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to trust a partner that's constantly telling me I'm wrong. I'm not going to trust a partner that every time things get hard, they abandon me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to trust a partner that, every time I'm happy, they take the wind out from under my wings. I'm going to trust someone who's going to be present with me,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to trust a partner who's going to help me to remember who I am beyond the chaos that's around me.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I think about that in terms of my relationship with myself. We choose to trust ourselves, but then
Mm-hmm.
we also have to work on that relationship. Like we
Definitely.
do have to be trustworthy with ourselves
Yeah.
in our actions. Not perfect, not perfect. Not like, well, I said I'm going to do this and I didn't do this and now I'm a bad person. Not that, but be committed to the path of
Mm-hmm.
growing.
So funny because as you're speaking, I'm just gonna give a live example. My mind is going, Mariana, are you making sense with anything that you're saying? And I've been doing this like fear challenge on my stories because
Mhm.
I feel like it's important to say our fears out loud. They just the power that they have is less. And for me, it's been communication. And everything on my astrology chart, human design, is all about communication. It's important for me to communicate. I'm a messenger, blah, blah, blah. So it is so funny that my ego, mind, self is going, just trying to tell me this is this. And then we have two choices here, right? I engage or I don't.
Mhm.
However, when I don't engage, am I not engaging because I want to avoid completely this conversation? Because the thing is, so funny is becoming the attachment, right? Like we have avoidant attachment, anxious attachment, safety attachment, or the mix of the two, right?
Mhm.
So if I'm having these stories and thoughts and they come in and I am avoiding it, I'm still having a relationship with that.
Mm.
If I am anxious about it and I start kind of responding or reacting to it, I am still having a relationship with that. I feel like when we're choosing, we choose out of safety and neutrality to this new relationship we're having with ourselves. And
Yes.
so if I'm hearing this conversation, what am I doing with it right now as I am live with you? I mean, I cannot really unpack it here fully,
Mhm.
but I can lovingly say, that's not what we're doing right now, sweetie. Okay.
Yeah, that's it though, right? I mean, that's what it is. It can be, it can sound cold, but to me, it's actually a healthy boundary. It's I'm not
Mhm.
available for this right now. That's not, and I love what you said. We're not doing this right now, my love. And I think, um, I think there's a misconception that when we trust ourselves that those voices don't come in. Of course they still come
Mm.
in. It's not about, we're not eradicating the voices. We're coming into a different relationship with them where we understand, when your kid is throwing a tantrum, you're not like identified with the tantrum. Well, hopefully, right? But like, hopefully you're not. But
Hopefully.
like, you're like, I would say we come to a place, right? Here's speaking of tangents, right? Here's a different
Yeah.
tangent, but like, using that as an example, our child's throwing a tantrum. When we have enough space and autonomy and sense of self, and also like big picture understanding, we can
Big picture.
recognize,
Hmm.
we can, not that the tantrum doesn't interrupt our lives,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
But we recognize my child is going through something right now that they need to go through versus I have to stop everything and now it's a big chaos and we get sucked into it. So it's a little bit similar to me. It's
Definitely
like
similar.
we get to be the grown up in the situation, whereas that fearful voice, in I'm speaking for you, but I will not speak for, well, I will speak for you. You can correct me, right? But like, it, isn't that afraid voice really kind of just the inner child?
It is. This is exactly right. This is exactly it. Because that's why I love the inner child work. It's just like such a big thing, I think, for all of us. And I have seen it with children because I had the pleasure to teach for so many years.
Mhm.
And I was able to develop the skill of not taking it personally. I remember my first years of teaching. Oh my gosh, I got like shivers right now. I remember this little girl, Andrea, and she is probably an adult right now because that was like many years ago. Um, she taught me so much, that little girl. She was like on top of the chairs, not listening to me, running, and I was like, oh, how dare she, And I had to work through so much with her and really loving her. She just needed love. She just
Mm,
needed to be seen as what you're doing, it's okay. As soon as I was able to detach from what you're doing is so wrong, then she calmed down. It was just like a different child. Her parents couldn't believe it. Also, um, her parents were going through a divorce. So there was so much going on at home, even
mm,
though she was so little, so tiny, under 3. Um, and but I would never forget her. She was just like she broke me, that girl, in my first years of teaching. She was like, no, you just have to love me. So coming back to the
mm,
now, to what I this meditation and we were talking about, actually I was shown this inner child, right? Who is like the one anxiously attached, no, anxiously attached to something.
mhm,
And because the bigger picture that Ankara was talking about is the reparenting, right? It's like we see things from up here,
mhm.
6 lines. But no, every single person. Sorry, it's not a 6 line thing only. I don't want to do that. But then who are we going to listen to? Because as we're listening to the little child, who is going to get offended by it or who is going to become it? Are we going to become this anxious person or worried or avoidant, or are we going to look for the bigger picture? And sometimes we don't have the big picture clear. That is the thing. So we don't know where to go from there to see the little child. When we have an actual child in front of us, it's kind of easier to go, okay, sweet love, I know this is hard, but
Mm,
right? But when we are inside ourselves, it's hard to go, okay, what are these thoughts? Who's speaking right now? Which is why, again, I'm just gonna say that's why I do the work that I do, because it's so easy to get tangled with ourselves and not listen with separation
mm,
with love to ourselves. We start believing in everything, and because we're so powerful, we find the evidence for that.
yeah.
So who is responding, who is interacting with life, right? Which part is. And until we see that and we kind of break that, then we're going to stay where we are. And let's just think that those little parts of us, the inner child, is not fully trusting. It's not trusting. So to bridge the trust, you need to bring somebody who that inner child can trust, and that's you.
Yeah.
And that's you, my friends. And so you never have the, I want to say responsibility, but you never dare, or you never go into this adventure to really build that relationship with you. Uh, how are you going to trust? Which is what Ankara was saying. Like, is you and you all the
It's
time.
just you and you. That's it. And I love the story that you told about just giving this little girl in your classroom, like, what did you do? You just actually, instead of trying to control her, you loved her and
Mm-hmm.
you accepted her, right? And how, yeah, sometimes it takes to the point where we break ourselves in our mistrust of ourselves, in our judgment of ourselves, in our trying to control ourselves. But the if we can get to a place where we're actually giving those parts of ourselves that we're judging, the parts of ourselves that are afraid, that inner child who wants to control everything and thinks that we're not, can we just love that part of ourselves? That's where the healing starts. I mean, it always starts with love, and totally sounds cliche, but it's true
But
though.
it's true.
But it's true because who the hell, I mean, would you trust somebody that's not being loving or kind towards you? So the conscious, right? The parent within us, the adult within us, we have to make that choice to love anyway, to love anyway, because there's no healing in the field of rejection and, you know,
Hmm.
rejection and judgment. How can we
Mm-hmm.
heal that way? It creates such a, I mean, talk about anxious attachment or avoidant attachment. Sure. Who wants to be attached to somebody who's mistreating them? And I talk about this a lot. Most of our suffering is done at our own hands.
Yeah.
Most of our suffering we do to ourselves. There are shitty circumstances in the world, of course. There's a lot of chaos around us, but we do more than just add to it. We weaponize everything against ourselves. And that's a habit. And we have to recognize it and break it. And sometimes it's obvious, like self talk,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's really subtle. And I think, especially for those of us who've done a lot of
Mm-hmm.
personal development work and spiritual work, and we do all these things,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we don't realize how we're doing that. That was my experience, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, well, I talk great to myself. I love myself, but I was still not trusting myself. There's still more layers for me to peel back and say, you know, I'm just somebody who, for whatever reason, like I make up a lot of rules for myself, not for anyone but myself, right? Talking about suffering at your own
Yeah,
hands.
yeah, yeah.
Nobody's imposing these rules and limitations on me but me. And I just started to question, like every time I caught a rule, every time I caught a story, I'm like, wait, says who? Who did I get that from? Did I get that from me or did I get that from somebody else? Did I, is that something that I read? Is that something a mentor told me I should do? Right. And when I started to peel back those layers, I started to recognize, wait, so much of my operating system is not, I'm still in the foundation, but it's like been overridden by these things that I've agreed to. And so
Mm-hmm.
I've been peeling it back and peeling it back. And to me, that's been a way of rebuilding trust by really honoring me, my own truth, my own
Mm-hmm.
desires,
Yeah.
my own knowing.
Those little, I feel like it's we have strategies. So we create strategies. That's how like I call it, right? Like we have created a strategy to survive whatever we think we're surviving, all replicating or it comes from our childhood. So we're constantly kind of repeating some of these patterns that we haven't able to let go of. And then we want to prevent heartbreak. We want to prevent pain, suffering, disappointment, things that we experience in childhood. And and you would think, right? Like talking about people who have been doing this unpacking for a long time. Oh, we're done because I've been doing this for like 30 years of my life. But
Right.
the truth is, there's always a new layer of it. There's always a new awareness. There's always a new liberation. Like the
Yeah.
things that I believed or I was in my 20s. I'm very happy that I see it from like I remember my mentor and my who I learned so many things from telling me one day, Mariana, you're gonna look back at this moment and you're not even gonna recognize yourself. And I was like, what? What do you
Impossible.
mean? And then he would be like, yeah, you are not, you're gonna forget about it. And I remember when people talk about like split of time. I remember, like, I'm getting shivers all over my body. My dad coming and visiting me in Vancouver when I just went through this separation. And he's like, it almost feels like you're living a different life completely. Like, how did that happen? You got this apartment so quickly. Like, how did, and I was just like living a different life because I had made a conscious choice
Yeah.
to honor myself, respect
Mhm.
myself, trust myself,
Mhm.
and build my life. Like, I actually became aware again that I had a choice in this whole thing. And I was not living by all these like a fate that it was given by my biology, by my past lives, by my parents, by my childhood, like because I had no evidence of it being differently. So I couldn't believe I could have something different because I mean that's what I see everywhere. So how can I choose differently? And every time that I'm in this new edge, like right now of trusting, I'm like, how can I trust? Well, it's because you have no evidence. You haven't seen
Right.
nobody doing what you're doing, which is when people call about pioneers or leaders. It's not that there's only five of us, there's many of us. But just think that you are being a leader in your life because you have not seen what you're about to do yet. So it feels scary, right? And your mind and your body is like, oh my God, that's a bunch of bullshit. How can you say this about money or about friendships or love or anything? Like I have not seen that enough for me to trust. And who's
Yeah.
saying that? Who's saying that? The big picture? The one that trusts? Or the little you, the parts of you that are anxious and afraid and confused and haven't been led by anybody? So that's what we need to make the choice again, right? We're choosing constantly.
Absolutely. And a phrase that I've been saying a lot lately is like, it's not what you do, it's who you are when you're doing it. And I think
Mhm.
that this applies here too. It's like, it's not, it's really who are you listening to? What part of yourself are you engaging with? What part of yourself are you giving the power to in this moment? And it changes moment by moment and changes situation by situation. But we, it's really helpful to have an understanding of, you know, there is the part of me that really wants to be perfect, wants to get it right, needs the evidence to prove that it's safe, right? There's that part. But all of those sentiments, to me, I experience them as constriction,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
They all
Mhm.
feel like limitations. Like
Mhm.
it's limiting me, it's stopping me. And
Yeah.
what is it stopping? It's usually stopping my dreams, it's stopping my desire, it's stopping my heart, it's even stopping my like my higher mind, my consciousness, my inspiration, right? So there's that voice. And then there's the voice that I would say maybe like the voice of the soul or the voice of the higher self or the voice of the inner parent, the queen, the magician, right? Like all of these different archetypes. But what we know is that the voice that says, like, that has the perspective to be able to say, I hear you. I know
Mhm.
you want the evidence,
Mhm.
but can you trust the part of your heart that's leading you here anyway? Can you trust that it's going to unfold the way it's meant to unfold? And guess what? It's probably not going to look like you think it's going to look,
Mhm.
no matter what, whether you do it in fear or whether you do it in love. We can't control that kind of shit. I keep cursing. I hope that's okay. We
That's
can't control that though. We
no.
can't. That's the illusion. Like all of these attempts to control, it just means we're not trusting. That's all it means. We're just not trusting when you find yourself needing an outcome, needing the proof, needing the justification, like needing to have it all together before you make a move. That's a really big one.
Oh, I'm
We
going through
gain
that so much.
so much power, wisdom. Sorry, my cat will not stop
Yeah,
trying to get on my lap.
it's okay.
We gain so much power, so much wisdom, so much skill, so
Mm-hmm.
much mastery
Mm-hmm.
in doing, not necessarily doing it right, just in action, taking aligned action. And how many times do we stop ourselves because, like, I don't have all the pieces together. I need to get this certification first. I have to do, like, all the ways we
I
tell
have to have the
ourselves to,
right name. I have to.
I need the right, I need the right name.
That's for me.
I need 72,000 followers on Instagram. No,
Yeah, yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
it's all made up.
It is
We
so
just make
made
all
up.
of it up. It's all like, and that's what I've been finding for myself. It's like, oh, there's another rule that I made up that like maybe someone else told me, but I've decided for myself. I need X to be in place before I can Y and Z. Says,
And I think
says
we
who?
need to make another. We need to talk about like which rules we've made for ourselves in another episode. So I think because
Yes,
no, because there's so much we could say. I
I know.
know.
Because we
But
can
I
keep
really
on
want to
going
talk
and
about
going. Yeah.
that. I actually was like, oh, yeah, I thought we were going to talk about that when I invited you to come, but it's all connected because it's all connected.
Yeah.
Because there's so many rules we're constantly putting ourselves into. But I just want to say that we do that because that's our brain is assigned to do that. It's just we just
Yeah.
do it. But that doesn't mean we have to keep them. We
Right.
don't, and we don't even know when we're doing it. Sometimes I'm like, oh, wait, I have a rule about, I mean, I have many rules about money, but I have like a rule, a box that I have put myself into that this is the only way that this is going to happen.
Yep.
And I don't even know that I'm living in that box. I'm like, la la la, it's, this box is okay. It's work for other people. It's fine. And then it's not, life is telling me, wait, you thought if you did this, if you did that, if you, I want to give so many specifics, but because you thought that if you went to school and studied this, you got this degree, you got the job, you moved to, everything was gonna work. And guess what?
Hmm.
It's not true. So your guarantee that you would have that in the box, it is BS. It's
Right.
not true. So what is life telling me? I mean, I have this, it's telling me make your own rules. Just and I want to be careful with this. What about if you are designed to make your own rules in a way that is your path? What about if in breaking the rule, you make your own rule, kind of a thing, right? Like I am not, but that sounds scary. Oh, what do you mean? Like how can I just receive at all time? Like no, it's just like there has to be a way to receive. I have to do something about it. I have
Hmm.
to it's this
Earn it.
whole thing. Oh my gosh, it's a whole
Hmm.
thing. It's a lot.
Hmm. It is. It is a lot. And like the interesting thing that I'm finding is, well, first of all, like absolutely, like what happens when we take the rules away? We create new rules. It's just, it is the way that the brain seems to work and the mind seems to work. And listen, I mean, I'm sure we would not have survived if our brains weren't doing that. Well, I'm not sure, but I'm assuming, right? Like part of our survival and our evolution has like it has served its place. I think that there's a way that we can have rules, but we can hold them lightly.
Mm-hmm.
Like the rules that I
Mm-hmm.
have now, I mean, I am trying to just eradicate all of them just to kind of see like what's the baseline without all of those rules there. But I'm just finding new ones every single day, including new ones that I'm like new ones that are popping up since I've been doing this process. Like, do I have a rule that I need to not have any rules? Right? It's very meta. Um, but I think I
Oh
do
God.
think about like, well, it's not the rules that are the problem. It's our fixation and grasping them that becomes the problem, right? Because when a
Hmm.
rule is held in a healthy way, meaning like, okay, this will serve me, like, or I'm going to find out if this is going to serve me. And if it doesn't, I'm going to adjust it. I'm going to refine it. I'm going to drop it and create something new. Like, in that way, rules are really kind of just the structure that helps us to thrive. But just like any structure, like it can get outdated and we cannot notice that it's outdated because
Yeah.
we just kind of go into our, just kind of everyday, I'm forgetting the phrase, but like just business as usual kind of mindset.
And that is a relationship with the masculine. I
It
was just
is the
thinking.
relationship.
Because,
Yeah, it
and
it
then we
is.
go into like, I don't want any rules, so I'm not going to do anything. And then I was like, that doesn't work either,
It
right? Like,
doesn't.
that is also a rule made of like no rules. So, what you just said is so important. Like, healthy relationship with the structure, with the rules, with the boxes we're in. Holding it lightly, like you said, is so important. It's such a beautiful thing to have a relationship with that because we're like
Mm,
again like all these boxes and rules are relationships. What is my relationship with something? And if I am grabbing and grasping it and making sure it's because I'm actually in fear, anxious, right? You're like, I'm just gonna go to this because for the life of me, and then it's gonna work. And then, but inside of you, you're like scared and not trusting life, which is not, again, like going back to the remembering. When we sit on like, who am I really at the core of everything? I am, that is me. I am this powerful creator. I am trust and love and faith, and I'm here to bring that into this beautiful experience. So if I lean and trust into, I am this beautiful being, And I'm just here to kind of play and experience. But guess what? There's something bigger kind of orchestrating and supporting and connecting me with others and connecting me to things and letting me see my relationship with everything at all times. Look at this relationship. Is that resonating? Is that the form of who you are at the core? Is that showing you who you are at the core? It's not.
Mm. Mm.
Oh, it's not. Oh, it is. Oh, okay. Well, it's not. And then we take it lightly, right? Instead of going, oh my gosh, it's not. Oh my gosh, what do I do now? I need to do something about it because it's not resonating. It's not showing my soul. We can do that. And no, it's just like, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not really. So I have to really kind of, can you just support me with this? Can you help me open up to this in a more gentle way? And I'm like, yeah, show me. And maybe things will crumble in a very gentle way, but your presence and perspective of it
Mhm.
is held lightly. This is like, I love this held lightly. It's like a thing right now. It's beautiful what you just said.
Well, I mean, I don't know when this is going to air, but we happen to be in key code 42 or
Yes.
gate
I
42,
wanted to
human
ask you about
design,
that.
which is all about this. It's really all about, it's about enjoying the journey. It's about actually being present with the journey and detaching from the outcome so we can enjoy and be present in the journey. And here's what I found, right? Like getting back to control on a bigger scale, it's like we can't control anything. We can't control anything. And guess what? Whether you're in fear or whether you're in love, shitty things happen sometimes, great things happen, things that stretch us, things that challenge us, things that crumble us, things that build us up. Life is going to life no matter what, right? But
Mm-hmm.
who am I when life is lifing? Am I fear or am I love? Right? You said
Mm-hmm.
trust and love, right? So think about when I'm dealing with a challenge, where am I going to make my best decisions? Where am I going to be able to respond versus react from a place of love or a place of fear? We're always reacting from fear.
Mm-hmm.
When we're in love, we actually have the capacity to respond. It's not just a knee jerk reaction, unless we're so entrained that like our knee jerk reaction is meet everything with love. But, in general, I feel like my worst decisions are made from control. My worst decisions are made when I'm in fear. I don't, and I'm not even going to say that they're bad, right? It's all serving something bigger. But I
Mm-hmm.
will say the choices I make don't reflect who I really am at my core and who I want to be
Mm-hmm.
when I'm making those choices out of fear, lack, scarcity, doubt, judgment, right? Like those, they're not serving me. Like okay, I take it back. They're serving through contrast.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and that's going to happen, but that's not how I want the bulk of my lessons to be learned personally. I would,
No. And I feel like when you realize that, because I was just thinking like where it gets really sticky and it gets, a lot of us get stuck sometimes, is that once we realize that we are reacting and we're in fear, we force things. We want to force ourselves to get out of it sometimes.
yeah.
And that's another layer of the same thing because now we're like, okay, I am choosing from fear. I am not connected to the core of me. That's not who I want to be. And then you start getting again the same, a little bit of the same trap. So in somatics, they teach you, and I feel like it's so connected with the inner child work that I've done, or that I do, and even just being with a parent. The key is always acceptance and love of what is. And if you, now that you know that you're in fear, you try to poke it and you try to push it and you try to maneuver it and you try to force alchemize it and force transmute, then you are in the same kind of thing. So it is hard to trust that that is also okay, isn't it? It's just like,
Yep.
it's also okay being in the in between, which is a lot of the I when this conversation is actually making me realize how much of that work is what I do. That's the work
Yeah.
that I do. And I love it. I love helping people when they're in the between. I know what's going on. I know that I'm afraid. I know that I want to become something else. I know there's something more. but how can I hold myself through that? And that is with endless love. It sounds so cliche, but it's the art of learning how to love ourselves in every single phase. It's so true, but it's difficult. And
Mhm.
it, what I wanted to bring, because we're almost closing here. I sent Ankara a questionnaire because of course I did, but of course we always have so much to talk about.
We were
But
never going to stick
I
to
want
the
I
plan.
I know it's okay because people are gonna love this because it's such a good conversation. But I really wanted you to, with this kind of context, speak about like lessons and mindset shifts that you've experienced.
Mm.
Um, and maybe we've been like talking about it, but maybe something more tangible. You're so good at tangibles. And I also asked like biggest leap in life and business, like something that people can take in their journey of not only life, but also in like creating this business path. Is this what you do?
Mm.
And um, yeah. So you want to speak a little bit about like important lesson, mindset shift. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think it's very resonant, at least what's coming up today is very resonant with everything that we spoke about. And I talk about this a lot because in my business journey, at least, I was really convinced that there was some answer that someone had that I didn't have. And
Mhm.
so I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on trainings and coaches and programs and all these things to give me the answers that ultimately, I mean, we can follow a strategy, we can follow what we see someone else doing, we can recreate it, and guess what? It can work. But at the end of the day, if the strategy you're using and the path that you're walking isn't deeply honoring who you really are at the core, we just can't keep it up.
Mhm.
At some point, we have to, like, the real self is conspiring with the universe to take center stage. Like, I really do believe that. Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
our true self, our true genius, our power, our magnificence, our tenderness, our vulnerability, our hearts, our minds, like, we, you are meant to walk your own path.
Mhm.
Every single one of us is. And I like to say, there's only one true path to success. There's
Mhm.
only one way, and that's your way. And it
Mhm.
really is true. I mean, that's the biggest lesson I had to learn. It's what I work on with my clients. It's why I created the Success Codex is to help
Mhm.
people remember and see these aspects of themselves and get excited and see that they were born with this kind of magic, right? And
Mhm.
everyone has their own constellation and their own way of doing it, their own way of thinking, and it's all needed. It's all needed. So when it comes to, well, okay, sure, I've got my own path, but like we've been talking about, but I don't believe that I can
Mhm.
do it. It's like it really just starts with our relationship with ourself
Mhm.
and like in teeny tiny scales, right? And maybe it is when you hear that voice that comes in the back of your mind and tells you you're not good enough or tells you, how dare I? You know, maybe you can borrow my phrase and says who, right? Who's really telling me that? Is that the me that's expanded and in my power and in my presence? Or is that the me who's been hurt and is trying to keep me safe?
Mhm.
And when we recognize who's doing the speaking, right? Like, let's just say we're like, well, that's the part of me that's afraid. That's my inner child.
Mhm.
We can just ask, well, what does my higher self have to say? What does my inner wise woman have to say?
Mhm.
What does my heart have to say? Right? Because we have to start bringing in these just alternative perspectives to our limitations.
Yeah.
You know, and and I'll say this as well, it's a compounding journey of awareness. It's a
Yes.
compounding journey with tiny little changes of making the loving choice, choosing to trust ourselves, loving the parts that we don't like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that really helped me in the beginning of my journey, and actually I got this when I was healing from my eating disorder,
Mm-hmm.
which was you can bring awareness and still make the same choice that's out of alignment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, right, like when I learned a system called intuitive eating when I was healing from my eating disorder. That's really what helped me. And it was just like this simple, before you eat, you rate yourself on a scale of how hungry or how full you are, right? And whether you were hungry or full, you still got to eat that thing, right? It wasn't like, well, I'm not hungry, so I'm not allowed to eat. It was just about bringing awareness. And what
Mm-hmm.
happens is when we start to bring enough awareness, our choices will naturally shift towards who we want to be without force, right? We hit this point where it's like, wow, who's saying that? Fear is saying that. Well, do I want to say, screw you, fear, and do it anyway? Not really. Okay. So you do the, you stop yourself or you do what fear says. And then the next opportunity comes in. It's like, oh, I'm hearing this voice that tells me like, how dare I? Do I want to listen to that voice? Maybe not today. And then maybe the next time you do listen to that voice again. But the point is this new level of awareness that you have a choice drops in. And at that point, it's a line that you can't uncross. You start to see it and
Mm-hmm.
you start to just know that you have a choice. And at that point, like it does become silly to give that fear so much power. But never, just like you were saying, like never because you're forcing yourself to make the
Yeah.
evolved decision. That's bullshit. That's more of the same.
Yeah. And it is, I don't know, of course, I'm thinking about children all the time, but when I'm parenting and because I have so much experience, it's easy for me to know who is responding to this moment to my children. And that experience has taught me who is responding into my life right now. And I have to love whomever is responding first,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
If I just reacted to my child, and you can see all of these incredible parent psychologists, mentors, like it's kind of the same idea what they present, but it comes from children perceive your energetics. They don't listen to your words as much as they listen to your energy.
Mhm.
And you can say, stop doing that, but you don't believe it. They're not going to listen to you. They're not going to listen to you. And it gets really complicated for people who have not really had the awareness that you're speaking about,
Yeah.
because it is self-awareness. It is like, ooh, like, where am I at right now? And also having the choice to pause, right? Because
Mm.
somebody calls, I can't remember the psychologist, the emotional agility. I think that's what it's called. So you start giving a gap to yourself between one thing to the other, and you're able to pause. You're just pausing for the moment. You don't really have to choose. You don't really have to. You're just observing you and in regards to what's happening, because
Mm.
you are the one who is modifying. It's like, okay, now something else is going to respond to this same scenario. The scenario is going to be the same. It's not never going to change, right? People say you bring yourself everywhere you go. So this thing is going to be there. But if you don't ever have a relationship with yourself, if you don't even get to know yourself, which is my whole premise of all the work that I do, I understand that we can, make the letter to the inner child and all this, the shadow and all that stuff. But like, if you don't know your mechanics, your subconscious mechanics, how can you offer something different to yourself if you don't even see what's there?
Yeah.
How can you? pieces of you are going to keep hiding and sabotaging and bringing things because you don't even know what's happening inside you. You
Yeah.
are the key. You are everything. So instead of expecting the outside world to change on its own so you can feel different, which is what every single person about law of attraction says, and all, but it's the truth.
It is,
It
yeah.
is all about who is in my life talking to this part of me, to this relationship, to this situation, to this person. Who is that? And if we don't pause for a moment and have a conversation that has no agenda, but just listening, then you're never going to take your power back. It's just like, it's just not, and maybe it's a rule that I'm setting, but maybe it is a rule. Now I'm like questioning myself. But
No, I think you're right. I think you're right. I mean, sure, you could like spontaneously evolve, but I think what you're saying, and sorry I cut you off, but like I think what you're saying
yeah.
is without a little space, right? When we're identified with whoever's speaking, we don't have any choice about it.
Mm-hmm.
We need to
Mm-hmm.
put some space between who we are and what comes next, right? It's like it's that pause, right? Not even the intellectualizing or even anything, just getting present,
Mm-hmm.
just coming back into the body. That we just need a microsecond to be able to choose to respond instead of to react. It's a
Something like,
microsecond, right? And responding comes from our knowing, reacting comes from our biology or instincts. Listen, we need those instincts. We need it for our survival. But when I'm thinking again, it's like when your child's being difficult, do you have to react? Is it really going to give you the like your child's response that you're hoping to get? Because we just feed the same crazy with crazy all the time.
mm-hmm.
We do that all the time. Sometimes I describe it like a pointillization painting, those paintings that are made of like a ton of dots. When you are up close to it, you don't see the picture.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You have to step back from that picture to be able to see what you're looking at. And I think that that pause is talking about that same thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You just zoom out, right? You just
Got to
look
zoom out for like a second, for like 10
for a second,
seconds.
and I think it
It's so
builds up.
fast.
You were
Yeah.
saying it just increases a little bit to just break the habit. You were
Yep.
saying that. Then you
Yep.
create a new habit. But we just have to pause for a moment. And I feel like when we're doing this kind of work, we can do it ourselves for sure. But that's why sometimes it's nice to have support because then you are reaching out to somebody who knows where you're at and then boom brings their perspective. And it could be a friend, right? It could be, hey, like, remember? See, this is why I call it she remembers. Remember? Oh yeah, okay, okay, okay. Like, I don't need to be afraid. No, but this is super scary. Look at all this stuff. No, yeah, that's really real. But
Yeah.
but remember, like, relax, lean. Okay. I don't really want to stop this conversation, but you know,
But at some point, we do have
I would
to.
love for you to speak, just to close a little bit about the Success Codex, a little bit about what you're doing. Um, I know that you have a program going on right now.
Mhm.
Well, two actually things. So you want to speak about a little bit about that and what you're doing and where people can find you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yes, so just we touched on it briefly, but the Success Codex, it's a blend of looking at the planets through a business astrology lens. And then what we're looking at in those planets, it's not the sign in the house. We're looking at they're the human design gates, but they're end lines, but they're translated into a much more accessible, simple, practical vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
And I translated these intentionally so that you don't have to have a big, deep esoteric knowledge base. You don't have to study it for a long time. You can kind of look at the Success Codex, have a very basic understanding of how it works, and you're going to see your own patterns, your own genius, your own magnificence just looking right back at you. And even though it was originally created for entrepreneurs, I do readings for people for anyone. It's relevant to anyone who just wants to live in deeper alignment, to be able to really see and understand the magic that you came to this planet to bring, to really begin to, again, actually, what this does is we're creating that same space. It's like the pointillization painting, right? It's like you get to look at a map of these keywords that tell you this beautiful potential and these frequencies that you bring in. So I would say, since I have some programs that are currently running, the best way, if you're interested, is to either purchase a custom Success Codex, which is
Hmm.
$22, or to book a reading with me, which comes with a custom Success Codex, where we can dive into your impact, your growth, your balance, or your transformation, right? So kind of depending on what are you moving through right now, we'll look at, do we want to help you with visibility, with growing your wealth, with finding inner balance, structure and flow, or are you moving through some transition or desiring to kind of anchor into that next level? So that's a little bit about that. And
Yes.
I loved this conversation so much. It was so much fun, and clearly we can go on forever. I'm
Yes.
surprised we stopped as quickly as we did.
I was like looking at the time, see the masculine structure. I'm like, Mariana, look at the time, even though I don't want to.
I know.
But yeah, I'm gonna add all the Ankhara's information in the show notes. Um she's also certifying readers. I'm eventually gonna become one of those. But she
Soon.
also has like a so many uh, programs for people who are creating their own offers, who really don't know how to start with all that jazz of online business, or yeah, online business, I would say, or just business, and how to um, bring your soul creation into form. I feel like she's so good at making your ideas tangible.
Mm.
She has a gift. So anything that is related to that, you can really go and see Ankara's website and Instagram and all that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank
my friend.
you.
Thank you for being here. I love you so much.
Mwah. Love you.
This was so much fun.